Welcome to Decoding Form 138, the future of Salary TDS. As compliance requirements continue to evolve under the IT Act 2025, organizations will need a more structured and transparent approach to Salary TDS reporting. In this presentation, we'll decode Form 138, understand its connection with Section 392 and Form 26 integration, and explore what these changes mean for corporate payroll and compliance teams. We'll also look at the practical roadmap businesses can follow to stay prepared for the future of Salary TDS compliance. Let's begin. Now let's understand the foundational shift introduced under the new tax regime. While the core principles of Salary TDS remain largely the same, the 2025 Act brings a major change in terminology, structure, and digital integration. For example, assessment year and previous year are now unified under the term tax year. Sections 192 and 192A are consolidated into Section 392, creating a single framework for salary and provident fund-related compliance. Similarly, Form 24Q transitions into Form 138, a smarter API-integrated compliance form, while Form 16 becomes Form 130 for annual TDS certification. The overall objective is clear: simplify compliance, standardize reporting, and enable a more technology-driven tax ecosystem. Let's now look at the structural transformation from the legacy Form 24Q to the proposed Form 138. The shift is not just a name change, it represents a complete modernization of the Salary TDS reporting framework. Under the new structure, multiple fragmented fields are consolidated into a more streamlined format, reducing complexity and improving reporting efficiency. The identification framework also becomes stricter, with PAN emerging as the primary and mandatory identifier, while alternate Aadhaar-based options are phased out. From a governance perspective, revision tracking becomes more transparent through the introduction of return receipt numbers, replacing the older token-based system. Additionally, the coding architecture moves from traditional alphanumeric classifications to standardized 4-digit numeric codes aligned directly with Chapter 8. Overall, Form 138 is designed to create a cleaner, more digital-first, and compliance-driven TDS ecosystem. Understanding the architecture of Form 138 is essential to see how the new compliance framework becomes more modular and technology-driven. Part A focuses on deductor and responsible person details, including PAN, TAN, and key contact information required for quarterly reporting. Part B captures Challenge-level information, such as total tax deposited, interest, fees under Section 427, and payment details. Annexure I provides the deductee-wise breakup and connects directly with Part B through the newly introduced Challenge reference number, improving traceability and reconciliation. In the fourth quarter, Annexures II and III capture detailed annual salary information along with specified senior citizen reporting requirements. Overall, the modular design of Form 138 enables better integration, higher transparency, and a more streamlined compliance process. Annexure II represents one of the most significant upgrades in the new Form 138 framework. Instead of relying on broad and sometimes ambiguous reporting fields, the new structure introduces a detailed 67-column salary tracker designed for greater accuracy and transparency. Each column now captures a specific compliance element. For example, Column D tracks whether an employee has opted out under Section 202(1), helping monitor the default tax regime selection. Columns E and J focus on perquisite reporting with direct mapping to Form 123, replacing the earlier Form 12BA structure. Column O introduces mandatory PAN reporting for landlords and HRA claims, strengthening verification and reducing compliance gaps. Column BH links directly to Form 39 acknowledgement details, enabling better tracking of arrears, reliefs, and investment declarations. Finally, columns BL to BQ enhance TDS monitoring by capturing details related to current and previous employers, along with TCS reporting. Overall, the new Annexure II transforms salary reporting from a static disclosure process into a far more structured and traceable compliance system. Annexure III introduces a specialized compliance framework dedicated to specified senior citizens, under Section 393(1). The purpose of this module is to enable banks to manage pension and interest-related tax compliance separately, while still remaining within the broader Form 138 reporting structure. This marks an important shift in the new regime, where standard employee payroll compliance and senior citizen banking compliance are now distinctly categorized. The module begins with gross income reporting, covering pension income and total interest earned. It then captures eligible deductions under Chapter 8 in a structured and standardized format. Finally, the framework moves into detailed tax computation, including tax liability, rebate under Section 156, surcharge calculations, and relief under Section 157. Overall, Annexure III strengthens transparency and creates a more focused compliance mechanism for senior citizen taxation within the digital TDS ecosystem. Form 138 is designed as an integrated compliance ecosystem where multiple declarations and reporting modules work together through a centralized processing engine. The process begins with Form 122, where employees declare their tax regime selection and disclose previous employer salary and TDS details. The second input comes through Form 123, which replaces Form 12BA and captures detailed perquisite valuation information, particularly for higher salary brackets. The third component is Form 124, replacing Form 12BB, which manages investment in HRA declarations, while introducing additional disclosure requirements related to landlord relationships. All of these inputs are then processed through the Form 138 engine, creating a connected and automated compliance workflow. The final output is Form 130, which replaces the traditional Form 16 and serves as the consolidated annual TDS certificate generated directly through the Traces ecosystem. Overall, the new framework reflects a major shift toward real-time integration, centralized validation, and digitally connected tax compliance. One of the biggest shifts under the new Form 138 regime is the expanded role of employers in Salary TDS compliance. Earlier, employers largely acted passively, relying on employee declarations and documents. Under Section 392, this changes significantly. Employers must now actively collect evidence, verify declarations, and issue mandatory perquisite statements. This moves the system from declaration-based to evidence-based compliance. The framework also tightens Form 12B rules. Salary TDS reductions are now allowed only in limited cases, such as house property loss or tax deducted by a previous employer. Unsupported claims or self-declarations will no longer be accepted. Overall, the new regime increases accountability, placing greater responsibility on employers for verification and documentation. The new Form 138 ecosystem expands the role of auditors through integration with Form 26 and automated scrutiny. Salary data in Form 138 will be directly linked with corporate tax audit reporting in Form 26, creating a tighter reconciliation environment and higher reconciliation risk. Auditors will be required to closely match Form 138 filings with TDS and TCS disclosures under the revised Form 26 structure. The framework also strengthens disallowance tracking, with delays in TDS deposits on resident payments being automatically flagged under Section 35B. Another key shift is automated adjustments, where Form 138 data is validated against employee returns and audit filings, triggering system-driven scrutiny in case of mismatches. Overall, the regime marks a move from manual verification to data-driven, technology-enabled tax compliance and audit monitoring. This timeline marks one of the most critical compliance deadlines under the transition to the 2025 tax regime. All correction statements for legacy returns from fiscal year 2018 to 19 quarter 4 to fiscal year 2023 to 24 quarter 3 will become permanently time-barred on the Traces portal after March 31st, 2026, eliminating the ability to revise these filings. The new regime also introduces a stricter 2-year correction window, requiring corrections within 2 years from the end of the relevant tax year. This significantly reduces the flexibility available earlier. As a result, companies must urgently review and clear pending defaults, mismatches, and correction filings before the Traces lockout. Overall, this is not just an operational deadline, but a major compliance risk that demands proactive action. This slide outlines the end-to-end compliance journey under the new Form 138 ecosystem, from salary deduction to AIS reporting. The process begins with tax deduction at the time of actual salary payment under Section 392(1), followed by timely deposit with the central government, typically within 7 days of the next month. Form 138 is then prepared using the NSDL utilities, validated and uploaded electronically. The data is processed by TDS, where mismatches or defaults may trigger correction statements. Finally, Traces generates Form 130 in place of Form 16, and the data flows into the employee's annual information statement as TDS by employer. Overall, the framework establishes a connected, technology-driven compliance cycle with greater automation, validation, and transparency. This checklist highlights the key strategic actions HR, payroll, and IT teams must prioritize for the Form 138 transition. The first focus area is system updates. Organizations need to align ERP and payroll logic by shifting from financial year to tax year and remapping Section 192 to Section 392. NSDL RPU configurations must also be updated to support the new 4-digit Chapter 8 codes. The second focus area is process overhaul. This includes digitizing Form 124 workflows for investment and HRA declarations, along with mandatory landlord disclosures. Companies must also track employee regime selection under Form 122, including prior employer salary and TDS details. Another critical area is perquisite automation, requiring systems to generate Form 123 for employees crossing the threshold. Overall, Form 138 adoption will require a coordinated transformation across payroll systems, HR processes, and compliance reporting. This slide highlights key priorities for auditors and tax practitioners under the new framework. For audit execution, legacy audit clearance is critical. Pending corrections must be filed before the March 31st, 2026 Traces lockout. Data mapping for Form 26 is equally important, requiring systems to capture new granular reporting fields. On the advisory side, auditors must ensure continuous reconciliation between Form 138 and Form 26 Field 50, rather than relying on year-end checks. Statutory advisory also becomes essential, with CBDT circulars now carrying mandatory authority under Section 402. Overall, the role of auditors is shifting toward continuous, data-driven compliance oversight. Preparing for tax year 2026 to 27 requires a phased transition approach. Before April 2026, organizations must close all pending legacy corrections, roll out new employee declaration forms, and update payroll systems. The first Form 138 filing begins in July 2026, followed by regular quarterly compliance cycles through the year. By May 2027, the system moves into full-scale reporting with expanded Annexure II and senior citizen disclosures. Finally, by June 15, organizations must securely issue the new Form 130 certificates through Traces.